All right. Let me just let people know that I'm live and we will get things rolling. Taskeru. Okay. Hopefully I didn't just, I'm really hoping that I didn't just set up my stream, my thing to stream my stream to the TV upstairs. I'm really hoping I didn't just do that. Alright, I really need to get better at writing shorter taglines. Let me poke the Silva and see. Oh, Silva's about to do a game. Silva's about to do a D&D game. So I'm not gonna bug him. We are riding without Silva tonight. Let me just confirm with him. Yeah. Oh, cool. Looks like one of my other friends might be joining us. All right. All right. So let's move over to. Come on. There we go. Now we got all the stuff coming through. All right. How's everybody doing? I'm having a pretty interesting day. So, I had something happen that hasn't happened in a while last night. I finally sat down to start writing, and I realized that everything I had written the day before, so the day before yesterday, was kind of garbage and didn't fit with the story. So I just ripped it out, rewrote it, and then wrote, did my daily writing for yesterday. And like normally I try to leave that rewriting stuff for whenever I'm finished the actual transcript, because right now I'm just trying to get this thing done, get the 50,000 or 90,000, whatever 1,000 words done. Or at least get my story told. Maybe it won't be a novel, maybe it'll be a short story, who knows? Maybe it'll be on the upper end of a short story. And then once it's done, go back through it and redo all of those parts and pieces. Oh my gosh. So I'm trying to save all of that for that rewriting stage. And when it comes to the rewriting stage, I'm going to be counting the words added there and the new words being added, where I'm still going to be trying to get 200 words in during the rewriting stage. Either on this or maybe on another transcript. Maybe I'll be writing something else while I'm rewriting this. I want to keep busy, and I want to keep moving. I don't want to just be a one and done. I write a single transcript and then never write anything else. You know, I have other ideas too, especially because I'm doing this character creation course on Sapphire's character creation course. And as I'm doing that, I'm getting ideas for characters. Hey, Jay. It's Ori. You probably got auto corrected. But hey, Jay, how are you doing? Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting being this far into a project, like, where this isn't just a little project anymore. This has grown. You're good. That's great. I'm glad that you're doing good, Jay. So yeah, with this writing project, last night I got over the 20,000 words. And part of me was wondering if I wanted to stop short of what I was writing yesterday at like 19,900 or something, and then do the last 100 words or whatever to break over into the 20,000 words today. Hey, Nekomaji, good to see you. So, what I am writing a novel. Well, hopefully it'll be a novel. And that's the big project that I'm working on, is working on writing a novel. And as for what it's about, it takes place in the far future, in which all technology is some form of plant, and there's absolutely like no pollution, and at this point in the story, the government has declared that humanity isn't progressing for any further and hasn't progressed in a long time, and so the government states that they're going to be exterminating most of humanity. And as the characters are reeling with this discovery, trying to stop it, some trying to stop it, some trying to accelerate it, it's about dealing with these big forces where these big organizations are making these big moves that feel outside of your control, and what can small little people do. But it is through the actions of lots of groups of little people that collectivist action can be taken. Also, completely unrelated to this, I'm also working on making a video game, because one of my viewers, Okusen, bought me RPG Maker, which is a game about making games. And I have been putzing around with that. So that's another project I'm working on. I also have been in a character development course where, like, every time I say that name, that it's a character development course, I feel like I have to clarify it's about developing characters for fiction, not about improving my character. Because those are two vastly different things, you know what I mean? And yeah, but so we'll get more into the story and the stuff a little bit later. So I'm just wondering, I guess there is no, the RPG Maker is like making an actual video game. I do tabletop RPGs as well, but the current project I'm working on is making an actual video game. As far as games, and I'm writing a novel, making a game. I have another game that I want to make after I finish this first game. Because it's like, whenever you get a new tool or something like this, you wanna learn how the tool works. So with RPG Maker, with it being such a powerful tool, I wanted to make a small game with a very cliched and simple story, just so I can learn the pieces and mechanics of making a game. Just so I can learn the beginning, middle, end, and the steps and the pieces. So RPG Maker is a piece of software that allows you to make a video game without coding at all. You know what? Before we get started in the writing, I can show you a little bit of what I've been working on RPG Maker, because I actually came up with something that I'm really proud of, that I would be glad to show you, so I can show you what I'm working with. Y'all getting a free RPG Maker. Yeah, so I'm I make, like, I'll have some streams where I'm making the game, where I'm making a game on stream, where like I'm just showing you all the process. And like today is going to be a writing stream where I'm going to be writing on stream, where I'm going to be working on writing my novel and having a little bit of audience interaction. All right, so this is going to look really weird for a second, so just bear with me. All right, so this is RPG Maker MV. It's got a lot of drag and drop stuff for placing things, and for designing different things to happen. And then I can go into these events. Let me show you, for instance, in the latest thing I've been working on, by using some simple plain text stuff, I'm able to design small cutscenes, interactions, events, combat, and all that stuff. Like I said, all of this is made possible because one of my viewers, one of you all, Okusen, paid for me to get this software. So I'm going to run a test play of the game so you can see the latest dungeon that I've been working on. Actually, let me just adjust one thing. All right. I'll just start here. Okay. Oh, what's that? Jay, you subscribed to the channel. Welcome to the subscription. Thank you. Sorry for the looping around stuff there. All right. Welcome to the channel. It's good to have you. All right. Save changes. So this is only part of the game. It's still in development. So we have some very generic characters. It gives you very generic characters. I'm working on designing some custom characters. I've made all these maps. This is really empty because I haven't put anything in here yet. At this point in the story, the player is supposed to be traveling to talk to the king on the upper floor. You get up to this upper floor. Then the player sees the king isn't out here, so they have to go outside to find the king. Talk about if you want the airship pilot, because you need the air. This is how you're supposed to get the airship. Then I have an evil laugh sound effect playing that you all probably can't hear. Then you get into the dungeon. Once you get into the dungeon, this cutscene plays, in which one of the thieves, one of the bandits, is getting locked around in the room. You hear a thundering sound, and then the magical ward sealing your door open. The magical ward sealing you in disappears. When you interact with it, it tells you what color the ward is. Come up here, you see guy pressed green button and green ward disappeared. You go up here, you see you need the blue button. And ooh, this is a design problem. I need to put the blue button somewhere where they can see it. Okay. So then, only thing you can do to move forward, press the red button. It's the only way forward, so I feel like the players would do it eventually. If they try to go up here, they see they have to get the green button. But the trick is, by pressing the blue button, it unlocks the doorway so they can get out. This room right here bugs me because it's just, it doesn't serve any purpose besides making sure that a blue button, like you need more than the blue button to get through there. So I've designed all these so that way you have, when you press one button, it releases the other two. And this is a boss battle where I have to put a sign in here somewhere that says the yellow button unlocks everything, the yellow lever locks everything, and if you press the yellow button, then this guy will attack you. I'm Jimothy, and I like to lock my coworkers in the dungeon. Are you here to ruin my fun? You can also fight him. And if you fight him right here, you don't have to fight him whenever you press the button. I'm gonna have a sign up here whenever, I'm gonna have him say something whenever it comes time to press this lever as well. I'm gonna have him say something as well. But then you don't, but the trick is this boss fight's gonna be optional, because if you, the airship pilot you're looking for, there's gonna be people in all these cells whenever the level's done. That's the airship pilot, so you see you have to, but he looks like a bandit. So you don't know if he's a bandit or an airship pilot or what he is, so boom, press the red button. I need to put a sound effect there for him to exit. I'm just thinking about all these things I have to do for this. So yeah, this is, I also have to put random enemies in here still. Oh, I still gotta go the long way out. Anyway, I'm not gonna belabor the point. That's the game. Yeah. This is, it's just gonna be a very simple top-down RPG. I got the first dungeon here that's done, where you have to go through this cave in order to get the boat. And then once you get the boat, then you have to go through the dungeon to get the, you have to go get the airship, and then you have to go here in order to get a special artifact. And then once you go here and get that artifact and you have the airship, then you have to go here in order to deliver the artifact. I'm gonna put an optional dungeon right here, a forest right here, where this person is. So that's how I'm doing the game. Thank you. I'm glad you love the concept, Jay. It's a very simple, this game is going to be very simple, very bare bones, very straightforward. Not going to have a whole lot of hooks. It's not going to be, this isn't going to be something that I'm trying to sell. This is a very simple game that I'm designing specifically so that way I can get used to building an RPG Maker, and I can learn how all the tools work, and I can understand the concept of building a beginning, a middle, and an end to a video game. And then once I have that completed, then I'm going to work on designing um, a bigger game, a large sci-fi space opera kind of game that's going to be telling this sprawling story of political intrigue and intense characters who are facing big challenges, um, and all of that stuff. But before I do that big, sprawling, ambitious game, I want to get this simple one done first. Um, so that's the game. Yep, I don't even have a real name. I'm just calling it test game. Come on. All right. So yeah, that's yeah, I have so much stuff to do, and I'm finally getting to a point where I'm getting more proficient with the game engine, that like I'm starting to be able to understand what I need to do. I'm getting to that point where I can understand what needs to happen next, and it's just been about learning that, getting that process under my belt, and just executing on that, following through with what needs to be done. All right. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's very simple. I'm working on designing custom characters, so I'm not using just the generic ones they give me. I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm making all the main characters. I'm making them all black, because as a black man, growing up playing these kind of fantasy games, I didn't really see myself in a lot of these games, and it's my game and I want to do it that way. So yeah, that's what I meant when I said I don't actually have to code. If I knew coding, there's a lot of things I could do. And I might have to learn some limited JavaScript in order to work on the big game that's going to come after this. I might have to learn some JavaScript, but as it is right now for this project, I'm just using the system and the engine exactly as is, without really adding or removing anything to it from the engine. Give me 1 second and I will be right back. Okay, everybody? Give me 1 second. Well, a minute or whatever. Hello, everybody. I gotta update this number real quick. Let me just double check my notes. Yeah, so let me double check my notes. We're at 20,212. $20,212 words. Yeah. So I think I've mentioned this before. I stream out of my friend's basement where I'm staying. And down here there's a furnace like there is in a lot of places. That's, you know, normally because heat rises, so you put the heat generator in the bottom of the house so it heats the whole house. Pretty simple concept. And for whatever reason, our furnace hasn't been turning on recently. And so Pelly, you all have probably met Pelly because he came to some of my early streams after my hiatus. Who's kind of like the handyman of the house, is working on fixing the furnace. And I took a pause because I wanted to check with him and be like, hey, do you need me to move or whatever? He said everything's fine. He's gonna try not to make too much noise, so we should be good. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm hoping that like the furnace won't be making noise to like interrupt the stream or anything. But we'll see how that goes. So, to celebrate 20,000 words, I'm going to shortly paraphrase the entire story again. To go over what's happened in the story so far. You can see there's a lot of stuff here. I feel like my writing has gotten progressively better as we've gone along. And one of the things that I really want to do with this is to turn this writing challenge that I'm doing into a writing habit. I want to see this become something that I'm doing on a regular basis every single day, of getting some writing in, because I believe that by doing that it's going to help me with just staying productive and everything else. So let's start from the top of the story. So in the first chapter, Just Another Day, it introduces some of this world that the story takes place in, and it introduces our main character, Hazel Adelia. And he's a guy living in the year 4001. All technology has been replaced by plants. Everything is completely biodegradable, and so much of the social structure we understand today has been completely worn away with time. But then he finds out in the newspaper that government declares humanity a failure, announces plan to end all human life. Right? So it's this big outlandish claim, and he's really shocked and isn't sure what to do. But while he's still reeling from that, he gets a call from his boss on a plant-powered telephone where they're using the roots, sorry, my brain blanked for a second, as a network in order to transmit data and information. Alrighty. So there's that. Hold on, give me 1 second. 1 second real quick, okay? Sorry. Sorry about that. I just had to say something to Pele about making sure my bed didn't melt. So anyway, so Hazel finds out that he has to go into work. And he's still, even though it's been announced that humanity is going to be exterminated, he is still expected to go into work and to do his job. And he goes in and he really dislikes his job. You find out he pilots an airship for short range deliveries. I was thinking like he's kind of like essentially this world's equivalent of a truck driver. Where he's doing these short day trips to carry loads of cargo from one place to another. And he finds out 2 of his coworkers didn't show up, so their stops got added on everyone else's ships. And those 2 extra stops are what really makes Hazel it gives him a lot of opportunity for growth, because one of those stops is where he meets the leader of the rebel movement, but it's like undercover. And another one of those stops is at the government building, in which he really sees and it hits home how real all of this is when he sees all the people protesting and just doing, like, actually feeling like they're somehow participating in this process of trying to stop the extermination of humanity. So hold on one second. Sorry to keep stopping and starting. Oh my gosh, so many things happening. People talking to me while stuff is happening, but you know, that's just life. Life doesn't always go the way you want, you know? Anyway. And then at one of these stops, Hazel tells his story about how, as a child, he believes that the ship he was on was saved by a griffin that led them out of a very bad storm, but nobody else saw the griffin, and griffins aren't real, they're things of myth and legend. But he believes, and he's constantly searching for griffins, and he wants to prove that they exist and figure out why nobody else has seen them, and that's one of his personal goals. It's why he became an airship pilot in the first place. Kind of kooky, but like it's like expressing some of his character. Then after he goes to the other places and gets unloaded, he gets some more information about a little bit about history, and you get introduced that Hazel's only 24 years old himself. Probably should write that out instead of using numbers there. I'm trying not to like get into editor mode. And then Hazel gets invited to this meeting where they're going to share information and that information is going to be on what's happening and why this is all happening and what the government's really after. Um, and uh, when uh, when all that happens at this meeting, people are getting really emotional, distracted, out of place, not sure what's going on, and Hazel's able to take charge of the meeting and direct the masses into properly participating in the meeting, which leads to effective transfer of information. And then after the meeting, Hazel and his best friend Fern see that some of the people who are running the meeting are going to specific people from the crowd and recruiting them. And one of them, their leader, this character Yu, goes and recruits them in order to work for the rebellion. And they find out that there's a lot of stuff going on, and that there's this group of people that is very much not a fan of what the government is doing, that's trying to stop all of this. They find out that there are different people, these different groups that all want something. There are these different groups that have been resisting, but they need to negotiate to get everyone on the same page and working together. And then he says, I need you to avoid acting like one person at all costs. And it says the revolutionary. Then we jump to our secondary main character, who is the pirate. The pirate is this air pirate. Her name is Grief Stormblood. And in order to introduce her, instead of just following her like we did Hazel, I opted instead to follow her first victim that's shown in the story. You're following along with this other ship as right before and then as they're being attacked by Grief Stormblood ship, the Pale Wing. So, hold on one second. Just had to ask an important question. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. With the furnace kicking on, I had to ask if there was a carbon monoxide sensor down here, but... Alright, we will get through this. We will get through this story, and then we will get our writing done today. So, I followed this captain of this other ship, and I intentionally left this ship unnamed and the captain unnamed because I wanted to give this feeling that they were just, that they could have been anybody. It wasn't special. It wasn't a fluke or a one-time thing. they're just yet another victim of Grief Stormblood. So I intentionally didn't name them and use very generic terms to refer to them. And she takes their ship. She catches their ship, takes their cargo, kills their captain, and then leaves the ship, and also takes all their weapons and leaves them to limp home. And also, I use this as a chance to explain some of the combat mechanisms. Their weapons are fired with a bullet fruit, which is based on the witch hazel plant, which is where the outside constricts, the inside expands, and this pressure eventually causes the seed to spurt out the side, and it spins as it comes out in order to accelerate it at the same speed that you would expect from like a powder gun, which is why I was thinking like, you know, one of these older ball and powder pistols that remind me of Age of Sail, Pirates. It just seemed like a great way to run with it. And one of the things about writing sci-fi is once you find out something is theoretically scientifically possible, then you can play with it. You can make the conditions of making it happen more likely. You can make it more, you can make it just more. You can make it bigger and larger, but you always want to start with that thing of this is technically scientifically possible. Anyway, I used them preparing to be boarded as a chance to have one of the crew members explaining to some of the younger crew members how the guns work. So they get boarded. You know, the unnamed captain of this unnamed ship fell, soon to be forgotten in history. Just another statistic used by cannon makers to sell more weapons to merchant ships. Another poor soul lost at the hands of the deadly pirate Grief Stormblood. Then after that, you find out that some of the crew fought back when their captain was killed, but most of them surrendered and were spared. And as they're leaving, you get introduced to this person, Phlox, Grief's first mate. And Phlox has this interaction, I might keep it, I might not, in which he expresses that Grief was being very merciful in her own way. That's the idea I wanted to express, is that even though on the cover she's this hardened pirate, underneath that she's still being kind, and not kind isn't the right word. She's still being compassionate in her own way. And then they take off to their base, which is in a massive floating city, and the city is flying so high that normal ships can't reach it. The ships all fly in this because they all have sacks of hydrogen strapped around the sides, and I am fully aware that sacks of hydrogen that size would not be enough in order to elevate these ships. I'm aware of that. But shh, we're playing hard and fast with science here, okay? It's kind of in the sci-fi fantasy realm, okay? Then it gets to the city of Domus, which is Latin for home. Not the most original name in the world, I will admit, but I went with it, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And then we have this interesting scene in which Grief is kind of wandering, and appears to the naked eye to be wandering aimlessly about town, people interacting with her as she goes. And then it later gets revealed that while she was doing that, she was checking up on some of the members some of the members of her crew who had been injured or were not feeling well and had to stay behind. And then it also comes out that every person on this city at some point in their life was a member of Grief's crew. The men, the women, the children, everything. They all, at some point in their life, on at least one mission, on at least one run, were a member of Grief's crew. And she considers all of them to be still the crew of her ship. And then she finds out about the newspaper article that Hazel read in the first chapter about the government doing their thing and saying that humanity is wasted, is going to be exterminated. And she's like, they don't have the backbone to kill everyone. They're just using this as some kind of publicity stunt. And then we get further into that as she starts to wonder what's going to happen next. And she gets in an argument with one of the barkeeps about what purpose humanity serves, and if there's a purpose to life if it's not progressing. That's the big question that she struggles with, of is there a purpose to a life that isn't progressing at something? She looks at humanity and she sees that every technological advancement that's happened since the revolution, they had a revolution 20 years beforehand, all these technological advancements all served to meet some specific need, and just meet that need that was produced by some other situation or thing that was caused by the revolution. So from her perspective, nothing new was added. You added new problems, then you added new solutions to those new problems. And from her perspective, that's just a waste of everyone's time and effort. Like the old question of like, why, if we have all this technology, why does it take someone just as long to clean their house today as it did like 40 years ago, when there was not nearly as much technology or gadgets or gizmos? And the reason is we have more stuff. There's more dirt. Not more dirt. There's more things to clean. There's more stuff. And some of the basic mechanics of life will always exist. We get a little bit more character building as she wanders the town. And then after that, when she goes to bed, she's wondering if another person is going to rise up and be like she was, when if this is going to spark a new revolution, and if someone's going to rise up like she was. And then she says, is this world ready? What she thinks, is this world ready for a new revolutionary? And that's the second time you've heard that mentioned, because that's the same thing that Yu was telling Hazel, that he didn't want Hazel to act like. He did not want Hazel to be mistaken or act like the revolutionaries. So then there's this reveal that whoever this revolutionary was, that is who Grief Stormblood used to be. Then we get into some more history things, some more tidbits of information getting dropped. We jump back to Fern, to Hazel and Yu talking, and the information going back and forth. And this is where this primary miscommunication happens, in which Yu wants Hazel to negotiate with all of the leaders of the other organizations, to get them all to be focused on one goal of stopping this thing, right? And to convince them all to set aside their personal goals. Hazel misunderstands and thinks that what he's supposed to be doing is finding out what all their goals are, so that way they can all come to an agreement that helps everybody, so they can do what everybody wants. And then it goes to introducing the leaders of all the different organizations and going over what they want, what they're after, and their explanations. And so there's this thing in sales. I don't know if it's in real sales. I know it's in like MLM sales, where they say whenever you're making in every conversation, somebody's getting sold on something, right? If you're making a sales call, somebody is getting sold something. Either you're selling your product or your customer is selling you on why they shouldn't buy your product. And so somebody's getting sold something. And in these conversations, Hazel is being very passive and is getting sold on why all of their goals are just as important as Yu's goals. And he's getting sold on that. On each of them, but the last group he meets with, the belated revolt, express that what they want is for someone. One of the things they want is they want someone to rise up and become a new revolutionary to take the place of the old revolutionary. And they give Hazel an edited copy of the Revolutionary's Journal in order to try to inspire Hazel to become a new revolutionary, a new leader. Hazel isn't sure what to do with that, and then they have their actual negotiations, but then they don't actually negotiate. And now this is one of those things where, like, no character can ever be smarter than the person writing them. I do not know anything about running a rebellion or a rebellious organization. I do not know the first thing about business negotiations. I'm probably going to get an editor to read over this, and they're going to laugh at it and tell me to rewrite the entire thing. This is the part that's probably going to have to be completely rewritten, these two chapters. Because I may have written something completely unrealistic and, like, completely laughable. And I acknowledge that. This is my first draft. It's going to be messy. There's going to be heavy rewrites. But what they all agree is that all of their goals are important, and that they're going to put all of their goals in like a manifesto that they're going to publish a list of their demands through one of their contacts in order to state, we are this new rebellion. And they eventually off screen will settle on the name Umbrella Rebels. And I pull these names out of random generators. Like, I use random name generators, and then after I generate the name, I come up with a reason to make it work, which is that's not really how that's supposed to work, but it's how it works with me. So there's that. And then it gets at the end of the discussion, you find out that three of the member organizations recognized Hazel as their leader, But the fourth one, Use Organization, the Rotten Fighters, don't. And then we jump back to dealing with Grief Stormblood. And we deal with the fact that in response to these demands being published, I probably need to put something in here stating that it's a few days later. I really need to get better at marking the passage of time in my stories, or else it sounds like everything happens in the same day. Because this intro sounds like it's the same day, but then later on you talk about the demands being published. That means it had to have been at least a few days later. And yes, it is good fun. Yep. And then, so you find out it's been a few days later. And in response to the release of the demands, now Rosa Crucius, the party in control of the government, is putting out feelers trying to track down Grief Stormblood, claiming that if she doesn't help them deal with these rebels, that they will reveal her secret, whatever that secret is. And she isn't really bothered by it because she's like, I'm a pirate. Of course, there's always a bounty on me. And then it comes to fruition, in which it's explained who the revolutionary was, that she was a leader during the rebellion. She was the one who planned out and strategized a lot of their moves and actions, and she was the one whose words motivated and inspired an entire movement. You find out through flashbacks in this chapter that eventually that Rosa Crucius had been using her, and they essentially squirreled her away into protective custody with heavy air quotes. And most of the people of the revolution knew her by the name Revolutionary. They didn't know her picture, they didn't know her voice, they just knew her words through her writing, and she was always cautioned not to put personal information in her writing so that way the government couldn't track her down. And then after they won the revolution, Rosa Crucius just abandoned her because they didn't need her anymore. And she was left out to dry, and no one would believe that she was the revolutionary because, you know, she was this young girl who no one would believe that she was the one making all these amazing tactical decisions. And then so there's this whole flashback scene with that. And then we jump back to Hazel. Now I wanted to, originally I'd written for chapter 8, I was gonna do a second chapter dealing with grief, because I was gonna do 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 chapters with one protagonist, 2 chapters with the next protagonist. But I just didn't have a whole lot of motivation to write more stuff about grief, but I had plenty of motivation to write more stuff about Hazel. So I jumped back to Hazel. Also, the last chapter has a lot of stuff in it. Once I expand it and explore a lot of those ideas, it's probably going to get broken up into 2 to 3 chapters anyway. And this is where we are, in which Hazel is struggling because part of him really wants to be leader, but the rest of him knows that it's a bad idea, that it's not something that he should do, and because he's overwhelmed with his fears of messing things up, of letting people down. And he's overcome with this feeling of, I need to make this right. Because he feels like he let down you. Now that he understands what you wanted him to convince all of them to align their goals with the Rotten Fighters, with Yu's organization, so that way they could present as one unified front. And what they got was everybody putting in what they want in some kind of amalgamation of what everyone wants, trying to essentially overhaul everything at once, releasing this now much more complicated and near impossible list of demands. Again, this step may change a lot in editing this entire chapter. I acknowledge that. I probably need to read some more like political intrigue books or things with actual like negotiations happening, to look at how rebellions are at least portrayed in fiction and what it takes in order to negotiate that kind of stuff, just so I can write something that's just, even if it's not accurate to real life, I want it to at least be entertaining to read. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that was to celebrate 20K. That was going over everything I've written so far in a quick and concise paraphrasing. Quick and concise is probably not the best way to describe that, because I meandered so much as I was explaining things. I don't know if it would have been faster to just read everything. Maybe when I finish the first draft, I'll have a series of streams where I'm just reading the story. Okay. So. Let's mark the passage of time. I've gotta actually mark what happens. Oh, it took about a half hour. Yeah, it probably would have taken me a lot longer to read everything. But going back through all of that and just gazing at stuff and reading stuff, I'm realizing I'm really bad at marking the passage of time. Because like chapter 7 sounds like it's happening at the same time as chapter 6, but there's events happening in chapter 7 that show that it is obviously like multiple days or weeks after the end of chapter 6. I could fix this. How would I fix this? There. There we go. So now we mark the passage of time by saying a few weeks later on the floating city of Domus. So that emphasizes that it's been a few weeks of negotiation and publishing. Yeah, it is like in some stories they do that thing where they treat it like a journal and they have everything like told through kind of like pseudo found footage where you have dates and timestamps for everything. All right, so this adds 1, 2, 3, 4 words. Brings the word count to 2101 for chapter 7. Okay. All right. So I got 4 words. I still need 196 more. All right, 6 days later, all the leaders are in a meeting room behind Fox Coffee. Heavy wooden chairs. Setting the scene. Ugh. me refer back to my document here. Hey, Civil, haven't seen you in a bit. How have you been? You just missed me going over the entire story so far in order to celebrate breaking 20k words. Oh, really? Thank you, Civil. Also, I wanted to ask all of you who are here in stream, what goals do you have for the coming week? What things are you hoping for and excited about working towards? What projects are you working on? Also, Civil, how is your writing going? I remember you said something about wanting to dig up some of your first drafts, and I think that was you who said that. Wanted to dig out some of your old first drafts and maybe give them a once-over again. So I wanna have this dichotomy of you and Iris, where you very much wants Hazel to not become the next revolutionary, but Iris is like the devil on Hazel's shoulder, pushing him towards becoming that revolutionary. And if you remember, the revolutionary is a character in the story that was a mysterious individual that was a crucial leader and strategist during the revolution. Most people have never seen the revolutionary, and most people communicated with the revolutionary by post, by some kind of letter or message, but few, if any, met the revolutionary in person. Hey, you know what? That still counts, Civil. That still counts. And you know what? I'm still proud of you for trying. No matter what comes of it, there is something special and something powerful gained through trying something like that. No problem, Civil. No, honestly, I've been really busy. Like, Nakomaji was mentioning earlier, I have a lot of stuff on my plate. So I've been busy. I actively have something that I'm doing every single day. And like, I was talking to my roommate the other day, and he was like, how do you do it? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, how do you go from being dead asleep to going downstairs and doing your thing every single day and not get tired? And best answer I could, my first answer to him was like, I don't know. And then like I kind of thought about it and I realized that a lot of it is because my stuff here is very low energy. It's not that I don't put energy in. It's not that I don't put effort in, right? It's not that I don't apply myself or work for this, but something like that. But also, if you look at my content, I'm not trying to entertain children. I'm not bouncing around, flying around in 15 different places. I'm not some kind of a gaming gremlin making all kinds of bizarre sounds as I'm gaming. I'm writing or I'm designing a video game. And I'm doing things I'm passionate about. I'm doing things I'm passionate about, but I'm doing them with people that I care about and have this deep actual bond with. Yes. Gaming gremlin bouncing around. Yeah. And I'm not saying that there's something inherently wrong with that kind of content, with being a gaming gremlin who's bouncing around, making all kinds of bizarre noises. Because like, I'll admit, I watch their clips all the time and I laugh. I find them entertaining. I don't think I have the patience to watch them on stream, but I'll watch clips, I'll watch highlight reels. I'm not saying that my content is somehow more intellectual or like more refined or whatever, but my stuff is just different. It's a different genre. And like I had to explain to them, like sometimes I'm tired. When I come down here, I yawn. I've been real with y'all. I've told y'all, like, listen, I'm really low energy, so it's gonna be a short stream today. Like, as is, I also only stream for like 2 to 3 hours. But I realized afterwards that like he asked me how I'm not tired, and my answer was technically I'm always tired, and it's very much like that. Now might be a time to get angry. That's my secret cap. I'm always angry. Except it was, how do you not get tired? That's my secret. I'm always tired. Yeah, they put out so much energy. Though I'm probably going to be going back to doing some gaming content at some point in the future. Just because I have games I want to play on stream. And I'm working towards the goal of eventually having more streams. At some point, I may do something different with anime night. I'm not sure how. Like, I want to do more streams. I don't know if I have the energy for more streams, but I want to do them because I want to make more content. But like, I don't know what day of the week or where I'm going to fit the streams in, because at the time whenever I'm most awake and functional, I'm doing so many other things. But I just found out that like my Tuesday night game of Lancer is gonna be every other week. So I'm thinking I might do an every other week Tuesday night stream. Might see how that pans out. Anyway, let's get back to this writing. I've barely written anything tonight. Oh, did anybody catch Dream's face reveal? Quick question, what advantages and disadvantages come with being practiced in screenplay writing format? For example, if your story here was connected to the game you're working on, might transition a little better? I don't know about that. So I will preface this by saying I have no screenwriting experience. Nakamaji saw it recommended but never watched it. Okay. I have no screenwriting experience. I have done some dabbling in amateur writing, like as a kid. Like, this is gonna sound really weird, but I grew up reading romance novels. My mother was obsessed with romance novels, and I think she used them as like kind of an escapist fantasy. And so that was how I learned about the birds and the bees, was reading romance novels. Which is absolutely not how that's supposed to go. And I dreamed of writing romance novels. I read all of these guides and books about how to be a romance novel author. And look at me now, there's absolutely no romance in this novel. But if the game was connected to the story that I'm writing, would it transition better? Would it be more cohesive? So on the one hand, it would be one big project, right? It would all be one big project of this multimedia thing I'm putting together of a novel and a game. On the other hand, I'm not even working on the actual game I want to make. The game I'm making right now is a throwaway game so I can learn the engine. I don't know if throwaway is the right word, because I think I've come up with some pretty good ideas here, but that's not the point. It's like, whenever you're making a game, you want to have some kind of a thing that draws people in, that's something that's different that other people aren't doing, right? The game I'm making right now has none of that. So it has more to do. I will be honest, I've debated changing directions with my second game and making the second game connected to this story. I've debated it instead of the space opera I was working on. But the problem with that is the problem I run into is you don't see a lot of plant punk stuff, so it's going to be hard to find artwork for it. It's gonna be hard and expensive to find artwork for a lot of the things that I'm doing, and I don't want to be restricted in my writing based on what I'm going to be able to afford to find artwork for, because I write as a way to express ideas that are not bound by my limited budget. Like, if you can write, you can make anything, and you're not bound by needing styrofoam and paint and glue and all of the things to make a prop for it, or needing the pixels and the artwork and the stills. Does that make sense, Civil? Hmm. Now, after the story is done, could I see myself making a game eventually at some point down the road that's set in the same world as this novel? Maybe a prequel game? Maybe. Some kind of a game that tells the story of the rise of technology, or maybe some kind of a tactical game in which you play as the revolutionary, coming up with the tactics and strategies necessary to overwhelm your enemies, like kind of a tactical RPG. Maybe. That could be fun, actually. But I feel like I would want to have a story written specifically for the game instead of trying to adapt a pre-existing story. I'm glad I'm making sense. Sometimes I don't make sense. I used to have a joke that I'd say, I don't make sense, I make dollars. It was part of this hustle mindset that was absolutely toxic. Oh my gosh, you all would find this hilarious, I think. So, on Sunday nights, I run a Lancer game, which is a tabletop game. Lancer is this tabletop mech sci-fi game, right? And so I'm the game master running the game, and the players were trying to infiltrate this cult, right? And they're expecting the kind of like D&D style cult with like dark rituals, special knives used for sacrifice, long flowing robes and candlelit vigils, right? Instead, the cult that they infiltrated was an MLM. It was an MLM kind of Scientology type thing. It was great. And it was so funny because they're just like, are they wearing robes? Like, no, they're all wearing suits. They're all well dressed. Well, they weren't wearing suits. They were wearing, because they're in a pretty rough part of town, so they were all carrying some kind of a sidearm and wearing standard body armor. But it was great. And there was one point when one of the NPCs they're talking to, because they're like, we want to go see this dragon, right? And they're like, well, unfortunately, in order to be included in the pilgrimage to the dragon, you have to be at the tier 3 enlightenment tier. But if you were, and then, so as I'm going into this, one of my players is just like, what would happen if my character just pulled out her gun and shot him here? And I'm like, is that what you do? She's like, no, but that's just my first thought when he started talking about tiers. Yes, horrible but funny, Nekomage. Also, Civil, congratulations. What mods are you running on Skyrim? I've honestly never played Skyrim before, so I don't know. I know that there's tons of mods. People have talked about, like, some people have described Skyrim as more of an engine than an actual game, in which you can mod it into so many different things and completely reshape the game. I think doing that with Minecraft was what got my thoughts going about, like, game mechanics and game experiences. The bare minimum stuff like bug fixes, updates, frame rate improvements, crash deterrents, character model updater, cuts, content installation, a magic and combat overhaul, some custom armor and weapons, the cherry on top, and yeah, all in all, pretty basic. That's still a bunch of stuff, Civil. That's still a bunch of stuff. That, like, getting all that stuff running is still a pretty big deal, and I want you to know, Civil, I'm proud of you. I realize getting a bunch of mods to work on a game can be okay. Sarcasm doesn't travel well through texts, but yeah, like, the thing is that, like, getting getting mods to work in games can be such a huge and intense challenge. And I want you to know that for going through all of that and not just attempting but persevering till you manage to succeed, I want you to know that I'm proud of you, and I think that it's really awesome that you persevered to the end and saw the completion of your goal. I think that's great. You're welcome, Sybil. About how much time has passed? Let's see. This is a few weeks, so we'll say about a month has passed since the initial meeting. I don't like any part of this. I like that better. So, this does bring up a question that Silva actually brought up, which is is um why is the whatchamacallit the rebellion giving uh so much support, so much preferential treatment, not the preferential treatment, why are they deferring to this nobody from nowhere who knows nothing? And this is what I'm thinking it boils down to, is that he has no agenda. You has an agenda. You wants something. And you don't get in that industry without having some kind of an agenda, some kind of goals. But everyone can look at Hazel and just see head empty, no thoughts. I don't like anything that I just wrote. I don't like any of it. I didn't like the direction it was going. So that entire thing that I wrote was was going to end in an argument that I didn't want to have happen at that part of the story. And I don't think it really expressed the ideas that I was looking to express there. So in this push and pull, right? You essentially wants to be the leader, but the others want everyone to be of equal status underneath Hazel. And where that was going was leading towards this confrontation between you and Iris, because Iris's explanation was so flimsy that I couldn't believably ignore it. Yes, Necromancy. It's very tricky, because what I need is Iris to be highlighting actual good qualities in Hazel that don't add up to Hazel is easy to manipulate. And that whole thing and direction of the conversation did not add up to that. Mhm. Why did I put an apostrophe there? Mm. Also, is the furnace loud? Can you all hear the furnace that's like blowing right next to me? I was just wondering if you all were hearing that. Hmm. Not really? Okay. I'm glad. I have... Oh no, Civil. Let me... Give me 1 second. Let me do... Oh my gosh. I was going to adjust the audio filters on my microphone in order to adjust, so that way the microphone would kick in at the sound of my voice, but wouldn't kick in at the sound of the AC unit. But like, when I look at OBS, it doesn't look like the mic... Okay, Civil. It's been so long since I messed with the filters on my OBS, I don't remember how I set them up and which way to adjust them in order to maximize their effectiveness. Alright, so in this part, instead of essentially saying that Hazel was easy to manipulate, what Iris says is that he has leadership potential, he has no agenda. He listens to the advice of more experienced people and knows when to shut up and do what he is told. He learns fast and knows a good idea when he sees it. A leader willing to make hard decisions on the spot and listen to capable advisors like yourself is definitely worth keeping around. Those are pointing out some like... Okay, it's mostly only the music and my voice. Okay, great. Glad that background music's coming in clutch. So these are important qualities in a leader because no one likes working for a leader that refuses to listen to the advice of others and acts like a dictator. gonna need to. This is definitely something I'm gonna redo in my second draft, but it's okay. I'm just trying to get the ideas down now, and I'll flesh it out more in the second draft. Okay. So one of the key things, because um this is in the as far as the outline goes, this is the call to action as well as the refusal of the call. Um what's happening at this point in the story is that Chris, Rod, and Iris want Hazel to be the leader because even though Hazel was brought on by you of the Rotten Fighters, Hazel is not showing any preferential treatment to you, and Hazel has publicly, well, as publicly as you get in a secret society, acknowledged that he views all of their goals as equally valid, and that he views all of their goals as something that needs to be achieved. But so that's a thing. Like, yeah. They want, like, the idea they're expressing, sorry, my brain blanked for a second. The idea they're expressing is that everything about doing this job they can teach him. But that whole thing where he actually isn't fighting for any one of their goals, but is fighting for all of their goals, that's something that that is precious, that they value. All right, so at the end of this, what's going to happen is you is going to see that if he takes the leadership role, everything that they've got here is going to fall apart, and he's going to be right back in the same position he was before, just leading one organization instead of an umbrella group of multiple organizations. All right. I want to write this before I forget because I'm worried that I'm going to forget this. Let me Google something real quick. Okay, manifesto is the word I'm looking for. Okay. I can't just call it a demands list. Hello, Celio. Is it Josie or Jose? But I'm glad you like my funny words, and I'm honored that you would call me a magic man. Thank you. I feel the love. How are you doing today? Jose. Okay. I have an uncle named Jose. I haven't talked to him in a long time. So how are you doing today, Celio? Cielo. Why did I say Celio? It's definitely Cielo. You're doing good? So tell me, Cielo, what goals or productivity or what goals or things do you want to accomplish in the coming week? You're like a month late on getting started on your thesis? That's rough. Is there some specific thing that's been making it hard for you to get started on your thesis? Like, is there some piece of research or a thing? Well, just saying you're going to do it doesn't always mean it's going to happen. Is there some specific thing that is halting your progress or a difficult step that you need to take? Okay. So this part, oh, that's rough, CeeLo. I'm sorry you're struggling with that. That sounds really rough. Sounds like you've got a whole lot on your plate. Do you get any days off, or have any days that you can set aside set aside time and say, this is when I'm going to work on my thesis? Then again, I'm sure you've probably heard all of the advice and all of the self-help gurus and all the things saying visualize your goal. So I'm not going to tell you how to I'm not going to try to tell you how to solve your problems, because you're the only one who can figure that out. But I always suggest setting aside time for things. I find that for me, whenever I set aside a time that I'm going to be doing a specific thing, it just helps me in my head. Even if I start late, right? I'll set aside that time. Like, I start streaming at 8:30 p.m., but my computer time starts at 7 p.m. So that way, even if I'm late, even if I get down here and I just need some time to wake up and get energized, I eventually get there. But there's something special for me about having that 7 o'clock time set. That's rough. Like, yeah, that sounds really brutal. Like, if your brain, do you have like a specific room in your house that you could start to set aside as your work room, your office? Or even a corner of a room that you could say, this is where I work? Okay. I think that was at least 200 words. Let's see what we're looking at. 919 words. We got 919 words. So my writing challenge I have is to write at least 200 words every day. I find that so normally whenever you're writing a novel, you want to be writing like between 1,000 to 2,000 words a day, right? But whenever I have that high goal to reach, it's a lot, and I keep pushing myself. I get burnt out, I get exhausted, or I just don't start, right? Because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna have time to get 1,000 words in. So the challenge I'm doing, I got from a post I saw. I think it was like a Twitter post or a Tumblr post or some kind of post that was talking about, ooh, that's nice, maybe even the car. Yeah. So the post I read, I have shared on my Discord, and it's this thing that claims that Terry Pratchett set the goal to write at least 400 words every day, and that was able to allow him to consistently publish good works throughout his life. And this idea to take that goal and cut it in half and say, what if my goal was to write 200 words a day? And it's like writing 200 words is easy. Now, oftentimes, once I get flowing, once I get the juices going, once I hit that 200 words, I'll keep going. And like today, I hit 900 words. I didn't hit the full, whatchamacallit, 1,000 words or whatever that would have normally been the goal. but every little bit counts and every little bit chugs along the pathway. And one important thing that post talked about was, even if what you write is an unusable pile of trash, right? It is infinitely easier to edit 200 words of bad writing into something readable than it is to edit a blank page. Okay, so we're steadily starting to establish time. And so that's been my motivation. So we are on day, what day is it? What are we on? We're on day, I put it in there. Day 40. Yeah, we're on day 40 of this writing challenge for me. And I'm encouraging others to take on, if not this challenge, then some other kind of challenge to push themselves to write, whether it be a novel, a thesis, a short story, character background. I'm encouraging everyone who's trying to be a writer of some kind, whether it be hobbyist or professional, to write, to create. And part of this is also having like giving myself the grace to understand that this is my first draft. This is my first draft, and it's gonna be rough. 1627 in this chapter so far. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, and some things are gonna come out bad. But all that stuff gets fixed in editing. Yeah, exactly like that, CeeLo. Also, do you prefer I call you CeeLo or Jose? CeeLo's fine. Okay. Well, I do hope you stick around. How did you find me, CeeLo? I'm always curious how people came across my streams. All right, so we're at 21K words. 21,140. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I think that's how, what was it? I think that's how Civil found me, right? Looking for indie VTubers. Hello, Xander Mata. That name sounds familiar. Have you been around before? I feel like I've... Blue! Oh my gosh, Blue! It's been ages. It's been like, what, a year? 2 years? How have you been? I think I'm doing all right. Like things were kind of rough for a while. I'll be completely honest, but I feel like a lot of things are turning up and looking up for me. It's been very crazy, and I'm doing my best. Oh, well, I don't stream D&D stuff normally. Lately I've been streaming writing streams and game development streams. That's mostly what I've been doing lately. But it's okay. You're not obligated to show up. I'm glad you showed up though. We definitely have history. Yeah, I was doing some tabletop gaming content a while back, but I wasn't getting a lot of viewers for that, and my players weren't super motivated, and I realized that I just wasn't having a lot of the same energy doing that for stream as doing that in private. So I decided I'm going to keep that side of my gaming stuff, I'm going to keep personal and private, but then my creative side and also some video gaming, I'm probably going to do some video gaming in the future. I will, like, I just got the Arkham games on sale, so I might stream those. But yeah, today we're celebrating that my novel that I'm writing managed to break 20K words. 20,000 words is a lot of words. And getting that far, it's the first time I've gotten that far in any writing whatsoever. And I'm hoping this turns into the first draft of a full-length novel. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't know. We'll see where it goes from here. It's definitely, none of this would have been possible without chat. Like, I've asked for chat input on a lot of things. It's great having chat whenever I get stuck on something. Just being like, chat, what do I do? Not exactly like that, but kind of. You still play League, Blue? Oh, you got back into it recently. That's nice. Oh, I was about to update the word count. That's what I was trying to do. 21,140. Okay. You still doing the crazy things, bot lane? Yes. The best kind of the support. The support that's not actually a support. I still find it hilarious that assassin support is even a thing. We're just gonna wind down for the night here. How does that feel? Okay. Yes, Garen does go spin, CeeLo. So, I have been streaming for about 4 years, and when I started streaming, I was a League of Legends streamer. And that's where I met Blue. Oh no. So I played support and Blue. Yes, I was a Galio support one trick. That's a sentence. That was a phase of my life. I was so hyper fixated on him. And yeah, that was something. I don't know that I could get back into League of Legends, honestly. I found that so much of my life just feels better whenever I'm not dealing with League, but also I do still have League downloaded on my computer. I did still download it on my new laptop. I'm really enjoying doing this creative content with the writing and the game design. Arcane, I think that's the greatest crime of Arcane. Like the most terrible thing about Arcane is that it got people to pick up League who would never have to suffer through League of Legends under normal circumstances. It made League look fun. It's not that League isn't fun, it's that League is, I guess, abusive is the best word I could say for that. Like, League of Legends will take your hopes and dreams, give them to you on a silver platter, then bash you in the head for ever daring to dream of goodness. Yeah. Yep. But on to other news, Blue, what have you been up to besides League? Are you doing anything creative, writing, drawing, music, anything creative, Blue? Working in college? What are you going to college for? Oh, that's cool. Do you have a dream or some kind of goal of something that you want to achieve? Yeah, that's what I kind of gathered from you saying you're doing general arts. I just didn't know if you were using it as a springboard. If you'd answer that question, you probably get asked that question a lot, don't you, Blue? Yeah. Sorry to be just another person asking that awkward question. I try not to be cringe. I really do. I really do. So, Blue, I'll ask you the question I've asked everyone else. Do you have any goals or things you want to achieve in the coming week? Oh, well, it's great to hear from you as well, Blue. But yeah, I'll ask you the same question I've asked everyone else. In the coming week, do you have any goals or things that you want to achieve? You know, things you want to accomplish? Yes, that's a good one, Nekomaji. Survive, Bills. Oh, my heart. I hope you survive Bills too, Blue. I realize that can be an all-consuming thing. CeeLo asks, does general arts have something similar to internships, apprenticeships, or some sort of collaborative projects? I say this because... Oh, is this one of those things that was so long that YouTube cut it off there, CeeLo? Just math, science, business. Okay. CeeLo says, I feel my biggest gap in my education was getting my hands dirty, learn more in months at internship than in years. Yeah, maybe next year you'll be doing that, Blue. I do hope you'll drop by a little bit more if you can. You know, it's always nice to see an old friend. One of the old gang. Yeah, college is ideally going to be a place where it's like the entire idea of college is that, oh, that's exciting. Is engineering part of general arts? I always, like when I went to school, engineering was its own school. Or, well, I guess I've heard that some engineering courses are starting to be required for general studies. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that, Blue. Like, the entire idea of college is supposed to be like work acceleration, that you're supposed to learn more in the condensed time at college, like have 4 years of intensive study that's supposed to replace 10 to 20 years of work in the field. But there's so many things in the field that you can't learn at college. I see. Oh, that's nice. It's good that it can be useful for something. Well, I do wish you the best, Blue, and I do hope that you'll drop by a little bit more. That's definitely some good advice, CeeLo. It's so exciting to see people working on stuff and working towards their goals, even if that goal is to survive bills. That's still a goal, and I'm still going to support you as you work towards that goal. Anyway, this has been a great stream. We've had plenty of people come through, which is great and exciting. It's good to see Blue again. Good to see CeeLo. Nekomaji, of course, is a regular. Civil was here earlier. I don't know if Civil's still here. Who else did we get? I'm scrolling up through chat to see who else we got coming through. Yeah, it looks like that was it. But Civil, you are here. Yes, it has been really fun. We got 900 words put into the novel today, which is great. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And also, I don't know if any of you were here. Oh, my friend Jay was here earlier. I don't know whatever happened to him. It's like high school, but you pay and may easily. Oh, thank you very much, CeeLo. Hopefully you'll come by some other time. My next stream that I have planned is going to be Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I stream on Mondays and Fridays. Sometimes if I can squeeze in a guerrilla stream somewhere in the middle of the week, I will, or on the weekends, depending on what my schedule's looking like. But I'll post about that on Twitter or on Discord if I do that. So feel free to join the Discord or follow me on Twitter. If you join the Discord, be sure to go to the roles thing. And click on the reaction roles for the notification squad to get notifications. So I don't have to tag at everyone for everything. Anyway, let's wind down for tonight. I want to say thank you to all of you for coming to the stream. And I want to tell each and every one of you that I love each and every one of you and I believe in all of you. You are wonderful. You are outstanding. You are truly one of a kind and precious. Each one of you makes this world better just by being in it, and I am glad to live in a world with you in it. Thank you for giving your time to this stream. I hope that it might be something you could share with others, because I'm always excited to get new friends and new faces coming around as we all encourage each other to not just chase our dreams, but to hunt them down with proactive steps every single day. Always remember the motto: shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always, always, always stop to enjoy the memes. If you ever feel motivated to give to improve the stream or improve my life, there are links where you can do that in the description. Also, like I said, there are links to the Discord as well as to my Twitter in the description as well. I'm very active on Twitter, so if you ever want to reach me, that is one of the fastest ways to reach me. Just follow me first, so that way it doesn't go into one of those random message things that I don't see till way too late. Anyway, have a good night.